There's one huge difference between living in Olathe and many of the other suburbs on the Kansas side, and it all comes down to the cost of living. In this video, we're not only breaking down how it compares to some of those other suburbs, but we're also breaking down all of the predictable taxes that I know you're just so excited to hear about. And then to make up for like the boring tax stuff, at the end of this video, we'll also break down the dollar per square foot difference between new and older homes in Olathe. Let's get started. Part number one is how the city of Olathe compares in the cost of living to the surrounding suburbs and even Kansas City, Missouri. So here's a map that'll show you exactly that. We're zoomed out. You can see all the Johnson County suburbs. But if we zoom in, where Olathe was kind of middle of the pack in that zoomed out picture, and once we zoom in, an even bigger difference emerges. It clearly looks like one of the least expensive places in Johnson County. And I want to give you a little bit more context to this. So here's a chart that basically aggregates data from the US Census. And keep in mind that even though it looks like, at least how they weight this, that Olathe is 3 points more expensive than the US average, that Olathe is in Johnson County, Kansas, which is one of the highest rated counties in the entire country. So for living in one of the best counties in the entire nation, it's just 3 points more expensive, which is a pretty good bang for your buck, I'd say. Now, if you go through all of the different line items, you can see that nothing really sticks out. Of course, if we compare to Kansas, most of Kansas is rural, so that comparison gets really distorted pretty quickly. Now, I want to compare Olathe to two other, crown jewels that you might be comparing it with: Kansas City, Missouri, and Overland Park, Kansas. So here's a chart that'll do that, and you can see that Olathe definitely is kind of middle of the pack still. It's definitely less expensive than Overland Park, but it's certainly more expensive than the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And all of this really comes down to the housing costs. And where Kansas City, Missouri looks more affordable in terms of the housing, here's a picture of a home. There are a lot of these for sale in Kansas City, Missouri that really drag down that data. So in other words, if you were to live in a comparable neighborhood in Kansas City, Missouri to Olathe, you'd see pretty comparable home prices as a result of that. Part number two is all about the really fun taxes that you can expect to pay in Olathe, and this one's really important. So I'm leaving a full blog article down below, how to calculate property taxes in Johnson County. There's also a spreadsheet that'll help you do it a little bit quicker, and it's all totally free. But I want to give you one clear example and then like the range of property tax percents that you can expect to pay in Olathe. So for the range, we're going to type these out for you. It's between 1.342% and 1.37%. There are many different school districts in the city of Olathe. The principal one is the Olathe Public Schools, but all of that changes the property tax rate that you can expect to pay. So I want to do one clear example. Here's a picture of a home that sold earlier in May of this year, 2023. And because of this area, it's in the Olathe Public School District, it's taxed at around 1.363%. So assuming that the city assesses the value of this house at the sale price of $515,000, we can expect the current owner of this home to pay about $7,000 every single year in property taxes. Or in other words, they can expect about $585 every month. Now, while nobody likes paying property taxes, you are getting more value for your property taxes in Olathe. And the reason for this is, again, we're in one of the best counties in the entire country, but according to greatschools.org and niche.com, phenomenal schools that are very highly rated. You've also got a really safe area according to all of the reviews on niche.com and a lot of the families that I've been fortunate enough to work with and help find the perfect home in a really good neighborhood. You've also got throughout the entire city, which is expanding rapidly, updated infrastructure. They spend a lot of money throughout this city. And while there are some divides between the new and old parts of Olathe, you can expect better infrastructure, I think, than a lot of the roads that you'll find in Kansas City, Missouri, for example. Now, income and sales taxes are obviously not going to be as consequential as the property taxes. So here's what that chart looks like. I can tell you that for every $1,000 spent in Olathe versus the lower rate of Kansas City, Missouri, you're going to be spending $9 additional. But when it comes to income, which is lower, for every $100,000 made, you're going to save $700 just because Kansas City, Missouri has a 1% city tax that Olathe and Overland Park and Johnson County suburbs don't have to deal with. Now, do me a huge favor before we get on to the home prices and hit that like button if you're enjoying this so far. It lets me know if I've done a good job or if I've left any questions unanswered. And if that's the case, leave a comment below or send me an email directly. All my contact information's in the description below. And that way I can get you all of the info you want privately, or I can make a whole video about it so it can help other people that have the same question. If you're in the market for a new home, if you have any other questions about moving to Kansas City or the Johnson County suburbs, and you think we'd be a good fit and you'd like to partner together, we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like at the end of this video. Let's get on to the home prices. Now, the final part of this video is all about the home prices in Olathe, and this is one of the big reasons why the cost of living is lower than a lot of the surrounding cities. And your money's just going to go farther when it comes to buying a home in Olathe, and that's one thing that's been attractive to a lot of people who maybe started their search in an Overland Park or a Prairie Village or Leawood. It's just a little bit farther outside of the city, but your money's going to go farther. You're going to get a bigger house. So here's how it compares to Johnson County. The typical home value in Johnson County is about $406,000. And if you look at the typical home value in Olathe, it's about $20,000 less at $386,000. Now, here's the exact price per square foot difference between new and old homes. First is new homes. You can see that between like $242 and $247, I think we can say it's about $245 a square foot. And then here's what it looks like for all homes that have sold this far in the year of 2023. It's hovering around $180. So that's a $65 per square foot difference between new and older homes. If we look at that difference for a 2,500 square foot home, that's a $162,000 difference. Not a small amount of change by any means. Now, I do want to give you two concrete examples that fit this description. So here's one for the newer home. This is one of the most popular floor plans in Johnson County. This is the McKenna, a 2-story floor plan by Gabriel Homes. They sell a lot of these homes every single year. You can see $617 was the list price. They're probably going to customize it. It'll probably end up around $630 or so, but you've got 2,700 square feet on nearly a third of an acre. A lot size in Olathe is also something to think about, because you're just going to get a little bit more land for your money compared to an Overland Park, where even getting a quarter acre is going to cost about $150,000, $200,000, whereas in Olathe, that cost is going to be in the mid 100s. Now, here's an example of an older home that listed about $410,000, but with the market being really tight, could have gone under contract between $425,000 and anywhere up to $440,000. So 2,450 square feet, built in 2002. This is a good example of some of the older homes that you'll see that were built in the early 2000s. Long story short, I think Olathe is a phenomenal option if you're looking at one of the Johnson County suburbs. If you don't want to pay the really high home prices in an Overland Park or a Leawood or a Prairie Village, and obviously it's a spectrum, but generally those are going to be more expensive, then Olathe could certainly be it. You've got the same safe communities, the updated streets and infrastructure, and really highly rated schools. You should read a little bit more about the Olathe Public School District's 21st Century program, which I find really cool. So I'll leave a full link in the description to my playlist, all the videos I've made on Olathe, the overview explaining Olathe, the map tour from the main roads to the 21st Century program and the high schools, the things to do there, and of course, the things that you want to know, the reasons that other people avoid moving to Olathe. Now, if you're moving to Kansas City and you want to make sure you're buying a home in the right neighborhood, the right suburb, and you think we'd be a good fit, I would love to partner with you. So all of my contact info is below. If there are any questions that you have at all, if you just want somebody to kind of be your boots on the ground, answer any questions, and make sure you're getting a really good deal, go ahead and reach out, call, text, or email. We can set up a time to talk to make sure you're getting the most value for your money on your move. Thank you for watching the video. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future videos just like this, and I'll see you on the next one.